She whispers a warning while waving me forward like nothing's wrong. I'm 37, a compliance officer from Sacramento, California. I take one deliberate step down the jet bridge. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. The air's dry, falsely clean, like everything's been wiped down too late. She's standing just beyond the aircraft door, clipboard tucked under one arm, glossy navy blazer tight across the shoulders. Her left hand makes a motion, casual, standard wave the next in line. But her voice, barely audible, clips 3 words into the space between us. Step off now. I blink. Did I hear that? The man behind me coughs, shifting his roller bag. The line tightens behind me. I'm holding up boarding. She looks straight through me. Excuse me? I ask, not loud, not soft. Her smile doesn't shift, but her tone is steel, quiet and clean. Keep moving, ma'am. I step forward, just inside the doorway. The threshold hums beneath my feet. I always notice that. Electrical. Charged. Did you just tell me to step off? Her lips flatten. Someone behind me mutters, "What's the holdup?" She lowers her clipboard, says with louder cheer, "Welcome aboard." But something is off. There's tension in her throat, her jaw set tight. Not fear, control. I speak again, this time to the row ahead of me. She told me to step off this plane. A pause. Not everyone hears it. But the woman across the aisle looks up from her phone. 2 people stop pulling their bags. Somewhere a phone camera clicks on. I don't look for it, but I feel the lens swing toward us. "Ma'am, is there a problem?" The second attendant says, stepping from the galley with a trained brightness. "She just whispered something to me." I say. Lexi, her name tag catches the fluorescent light, turns slightly, angling her body between me and the aisle. I said welcome aboard, she insists. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. No, I say. Before that. 3 words. Step off now. I have one. Miss, you're holding up the line. Passengers are watching now. One man lowers his headphones, eyebrows raised. I feel the air tighten around me. I don't move. I repeat it, louder. She told me to step off this plane now. The energy shifts. Someone mutters, "What?" Someone else whispers, "Get that on video." Lexi steps forward. Her hand doesn't touch me, but it moves just close enough to feel like a warning. "Please take your seat, or we'll need to delay the flight." There's no alarm, no sirens, no code called. Just a stare. Just that too smooth calm that tells you something's already in motion and you're the last to know. She looks at me like I'm the one escalating things. But I know escalation. I audit escalation in memos, in policies, in committee notes no one else reads. And something about her timing is wrong. Did I do something? I ask. "You're delaying the boarding," she says. Am I? I glance behind, half the line's paused now. A few people have stepped back out onto the jet bridge. One woman's filming with her phone at chest level. Another guy's voice is caught mid-call. "Hang on. Something's happening here." Lexi steps to the side. Her eyes never leave mine. "Please take your seat." I move forward slowly, down the narrow aisle. A man mid-30 seconds, window seat, shifts his bag to let me into 14C. I slide past him without a word. Heart steady. I sit. The belt clicks. I don't touch my phone yet. I don't look around. I just breathe. The intercom crackles. "Welcome aboard Delta Flight 1871. Lexi walks past, eyes sweeping the row. No eye contact now. She speaks to no one. But she said it. I heard her. I look out the window as the last few passengers settle in. My hands rest on my knees. My row partner nods politely, then returns to his magazine. Everything around me is trying to act normal again. The plane sighs under the weight of habit, stowing bags, small talk, pressing flight mode. But my mind is already clocking the variables. No visible threat. No raised voice. No announcement. And yet I was warned to leave. I don't know why yet. But I know this. I didn't disobey her, I obeyed louder. I reach down, open the seatback pocket, and pull out the safety card. The glossy diagram shows calm passengers sliding down a cartoon inflatable slide. All smiles, no context. Across the aisle, someone's still filming. The cabin door hasn't shut yet. Lexi walks to the intercom and presses the button. "Ladies and gentlemen, Please remain seated for a brief delay while we finalize departure paperwork. Paperwork. Always the excuse. There's no paperwork. There's pressure. And I know how pressure moves. I didn't disobey her. I obeyed louder. A flight attendant turns her back. The door stays open. Cameras rise. Elijah boards 2 passengers after me. He doesn't look at me. Doesn't pause. Doesn't shift his face into anything that would give us away. I catch only the edge of his profile, high cheekbone, a stillness he's carried ever since things fell apart. He adjusts his messenger bag, slides it under the seat, and sits in 12A. Window. Perfect sightline of me if he glances back. He won't. He knows better. Not yet. We haven't spoken in over a year. Not since the report. He filed it. I buried it. Now we're on the same flight, same roadblock. And I don't believe in accidents. The engines aren't running yet. The cabin's in that strange suspended state, no longer on land, not yet in air. The safety lights are on. The smiles are paper thin. Lexi walks the aisle, a pitcher of water in hand. She's welcoming passengers. Her eyes scan every row like a barcode reader. They land on me briefly, a flicker, not a pause, and then slide to the next. When she gets to my row, she tilts the pitcher toward my seatmate. Water? He shakes his head. Lexi shifts her weight slightly toward me. We good today? She says, voice laced with false cheer. I nod once. She doesn't offer me water. Instead, she pivots and walks on. Her walk is rhythmic, controlled, not casual. My seatmate pulls out a Kindle. I try not to glance toward Elijah. But I see him shift his head, just slightly, toward the overhead bin. He doesn't look at me. I exhale through my nose. The kind of exhale you make when you know someone else is already playing chess and you're just now stepping onto the board. My hands stay folded in my lap. I've trained for this, not this exact moment, but 1,000 micro-moments like it. In committee rooms. In contract disputes. In regulatory hearings, where no one thinks a woman in tortoiseshell glasses is going to notice Clause 14. B contradicts Clause 7. A until I do. But this is physical. This is strategic. This is live. Something's been triggered and I'm the one caught on the motion sensor. Across the aisle, the teenage girl in the hoodie I clocked her earlier at gate 37 with a TikTok ring light is watching me again. She taps something on her phone. Probably recording. Maybe just texting. Either way, she's aware. Lexi returns up the aisle without the pitcher. She slows near row 13 and reaches up to adjust a closed overhead bin. Her fingers linger on the latch longer than necessary. Then I see it. Her thumb taps the small intercom switch near her belt, hidden beneath the fabric flap of her jacket. A two-way radio. She doesn't speak. Just presses and releases. Someone's listening. Somewhere. She moves on. I pretend to glance at the safety card again, but I'm watching her reflection in the black screen of the in-flight entertainment monitor. She pauses beside the flight deck door, straightens her collar, then walks back toward the galley. I hear her say, almost inaudibly, confirm. Then she disappears behind the curtain. The woman next to me, 22C, mid-40 seconds, crossbody purse, leans slightly toward the aisle, trying to see what's happening. Something weird, she whispers. I nod. Just once. Very. The speaker above crackles. Lexi's voice fills the cabin. Good morning, everyone. Before takeoff, we'll be conducting a quick security reminder. Please ensure that your personal items are stowed, and remain seated as we finalize preparations. Her voice is steady, but she's stalling. I know that tone. The one that papers over risk with language like, reminder, and finalize. I am no. Every time I've seen that tone used in a corporate document, someone gets quietly fired afterward. Or investigated. Or disappeared. Lexi returns to the aisle. Her eyes scan left, then right, never settling. She passes Elijah. He doesn't move. Then her hand goes up to her earpiece, subtle, but practiced. Someone just gave her a direction. I look down at my phone. 72% battery. Still not in airplane mode. There's one message from my sister, let me know when you land, okay? I don't reply. Instead, I slide open my photo folder. Screenshot of my boarding pass, airline PNR Q7L2XG, still in the gallery. Time stamped. Documented. I close it. Not yet. Behind me, A male voice speaks low to another attendant. Galley clear? Yes. Gate agent still waiting? Yes. I don't look. I just breathe. Then I catch Elijah's reflection in the window. He lifts his hand slightly, not a wave, just enough to scratch behind his ear. It used to be our signal. Years ago. When we were in meetings we couldn't speak in, but needed to signal. I see it too. I swallow hard. He sees it. Whatever this is, it's not in my head. Lexi reappears again, this time walking faster. She stops 2 rows ahead, confers in hushed tones with the second attendant, then moves toward the front. That's the 4th time she's looped the cabin without doing anything operational. The man in 15B leans forward toward the aisle. She's acting weird. His wife nods. The cabin is starting to stir, not panic, not alarm. Just quiet confusion. But confusion is where power starts to bend. It makes space for questions. I keep my hands still, my eyes forward. My mind ticks through FAA language, boarding rights, incident protocol. If she tries to frame me as non-compliant, she'll need support. A second crew member. A statement. A deboarding notice. None of that has happened. Yet. But her voice, that first whisper, wasn't discipline. It was warning. Like she was trying to tell me something before it got worse. She didn't look scared, but her voice dropped just 1 notch too far. As what of no distortiar in 21. I say it in my head again. Then I file it. Memorize the cadence. The pitch. Because if she tries to lie about it later, I need to remember exactly how it sounded. Not just what she said. How she said it. The girl in the hoodie points her phone directly forward now. I can see the red dot. She's filming again. I feel it before I see it, the weight of authority coming down the aisle. The first step, the heavy boots. Deputy Harris. He enters the plane slowly. Hat still on, nodding to the first-class section. His hand rests lightly near his holster, not threatening, just presence. He looks official, careful, bored. Lexi meets him at the front galley. They speak in low tones. His head tilts. Then she points directly at me. She didn't look scared, but her voice dropped just 1 notch too far. A second attendant radios quietly while walking past. There's a moment right before turbulence where everything stills. No coffee carts in motion. No seatbelt clicks. The silence becomes almost holy, like the plane is holding its breath for what's coming. We haven't left the tarmac. But I feel that moment now. Deputy Harris remains planted near the cockpit. Arms crossed, gaze scanning. He's doing that thing cops do when they're told not to act, just to watch. His weight shifts left, then right. He's not looking for threats. He's waiting for one to be named. Lexi is gone again. Likely back in the galley. Elijah hasn't moved. I try not to think about the last time we were this close. But the memory slips in anyway. That office, the dim overhead light, the smell of toner and betrayal. He sat across from me, hands shaking slightly as he slid a printed report across the table. Just read the top line, he'd said. And I had. Then I'd folded it in half, tucked it in a manila folder, and filed it where no one would look. Internal only. No follow-up required. Because I was told not to escalate. Because escalation jeopardizes funding. Because the audit team's job isn't moral, it's procedural. But my silence didn't erase it. And now we're both here, 12A and 14C, on a plane that hasn't moved in 15 minutes, with a deputy on board and a flight crew who won't say why. My row partner leans toward the window, clearly uncomfortable. Is this a weather delay? He mumbles. No announcement yet, I reply, voice dry. The overhead vents whisper cold air. A soft ding comes from the flight deck. Lexi's voice returns to the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We are resolving a brief crew coordination issue and will be on our way shortly. Crew coordination. That's what they're calling it. I look at my watch. 6:37. We were scheduled for pushback at 6:25. The delay is subtle, but the language is surgical. They're buying time. The teenage girl in the hoodie whispers something to her seatmate, a guy in his 20s with earbuds, and he nods, pulling his phone out, screen glowing. They're both filming now. I shift slightly in my seat. From the corner of my eye, I catch Elijah's shoulder rise and fall. A deep breath. He places his hand on the window, briefly a grounding move. One I've seen before. When something's coming and you can't stop it. Lexi returns. She walks past without speaking, without eye contact. Just that smooth motion, not robotic, but professional. Almost too professional. Like she's rehearsing every step. She stops near the back, confers with a younger male attendant. He looks barely 25. His mouth tightens when she speaks to him. He nods, once, like he doesn't like what he just heard. She walks forward again, pauses, adjusts a latch on an overhead bin, doesn't open it, just touches it. Then something odd. She pulls a phone from her blazer pocket and looks at the screen. Her face flickers just for a breath into something almost human. Tension? Doubt? But then it's gone. And she's all surface again. She steps into the intercom again, this time with the volume turned slightly down. Flight attendants, arm doors and cross-check. It's a lie. We're not leaving. I hear the male attendant near the galley whisper something into a shoulder mic, a channel I can't access. A conversation I'm not allowed to be part of, though I'm clearly the subject. I inhale, then exhale slowly. And I know. Safety cards don't say what to do when you're the threat they're hiding. I reach into the seat back again. Pull the glossy tri-folded paper. Everything in bright blue and yellow. Smiling people. Neon arrows. Cartoon calm. No page for what if you're the one being prepared against. Lexi walks back through the cabin with a folded paper in her hand. She's reading from it, not aloud, just confirming. The motion triggers a reflex in me, one drilled into every compliance officer who's been burned before. Look at the paper. Always look at the paper. I crane my neck just slightly. The header is upside down, but I catch a bold line. Action plan, 14C, visual confirmation only. My skin goes cold. She folds it quickly and disappears again. I tap my phone awake. Screenshot. The boarding pass. Double-check the time. Still valid. No one said I shouldn't be here. Except her. Except Lexi. Who whispered it. Not announced it. Not filed it. Just slipped it to me like a secret. Behind me, Deputy Harris clears his throat. He walks slowly down the aisle. No one stops him. He doesn't speak, just observes. Eyes scanning row numbers. His face is neutral. But he pauses just long enough by my row to make me certain he knows exactly who he was told to observe. He doesn't make eye contact. Just nods at my seatmate and continues toward the back. The woman across the aisle, 13D, business blazer, espresso nails, is watching now too. She leans into the aisle. What's going on? She asks the young male attendant. He pastes on a smile. Just a standard hold, ma'am. But there's an officer walking the plane. He shrugs. We're just ensuring everything's smooth before takeoff. Doesn't feel smooth, she mutters, sitting back. Another ding from the cockpit. Then Lexi's voice again. We'll be distributing revised flight safety instructions momentarily. What? That's not protocol. You don't revise safety instructions. Unless someone filed something. A non-public notation. A soft threat marker. The kind that gets sent from risk teams straight to action sheets like the one Lexi had in her hand. Action plan, 14C. I'm 14C. They are acting like I'm the threat. And yet she warned me to get off. The plane vibrates softly as something powers up below us. An engine test. Systems check. Still no clearance to taxi. I glance forward. Elijah turns his head slightly. Enough that I know it's intentional now. He's looking straight at me. Expression blank. But his eyes are full of apology. And something else. Recognition. Safety cards don't say what to do when you're the threat they're hiding. Deputy Harris boards the aircraft and stands by the exit. Deputy Harris returns to the front of the cabin with unhurried steps, his posture a billboard of neutrality. His right hand rests just above his belt buckle, far from his holster. Deliberate. The cabin stills. The passengers who moments ago were whispering, fidgeting, glancing toward screens now lean forward into the stillness. The silence is swollen full of suspicion, not fear. I keep my hands visible. On my knees. Open. Lexi meets Deputy Harris near the first-class partition. She speaks quietly, but her mouth movements are clear, the kind you use when you want your lips seen but not heard. He nods once. Her eyes flick toward me. And she points. Openly. Unapologetically. Deputy Harris walks the aisle. I feel every eye shift. He stops at my row. "Good morning," he says. His voice is calm, low. Controlled southern drawl. "May I speak with you a moment, ma'am?" I glance at my row partner. He stiffens slightly, doesn't move. "I'm fine here," I say evenly. "Unless there's a legal reason to stand." He pauses, evaluates. That wasn't the response he expected. Lexi stands behind him now, watching closely. He shifts his approach. "There's been a miscommunication. Flight crew flagged an inconsistency during boarding." I blink. Which part? My boarding pass? My seat? Or the whisper telling me to step off? The last sentence lands like a brick on metal. A low gasp from 2 rows back. Lexi's jaw tightens. "I said welcome aboard," she says, loud enough for the aisle to hear. "No," I say, my voice steady. "You said 3 words. Quietly. You looked me in the eye and whispered, 'Step off now.'" A beat of silence. Then a voice. Soft but firm, from behind me. "She said it." I heard it too. I turn. It's the teen in the hoodie. Her phone is in her hand, red recording light blinking. She isn't smiling. Lexi steps forward. "That's not accurate. There's been a misunderstanding. R4-. I don't let her have the moment. I rise. Not aggressively. Not fast. Just enough to match her eye level. If there's a security threat, I expect it to be addressed clearly and formally. If there isn't, then I'd like the crew to stop treating me like a problem without explanation. Deputy Harris opens his mouth but doesn't speak. Someone behind me says, "I'm recording this." Lexi stiffens. "We ask that passengers respect crew privacy. It is have no indo wells." Another voice, louder. "It's a public safety issue now. She made a claim, and you're denying it." More phones lift. 1, 2, 4 cameras active. Lexi's voice goes colder. "Ma'am, please return to your seat. She told me to step off this plane." I say again, now clearly and loud enough for the full cabin. "She did," hoodie girl shouts. I heard her whisper it. "Right here." Lexi's face flushes. "This is disruptive behavior." I repeated your words. "That's not disruption. That's transparency." Deputy Harris raises his hand. "Let's bring the tone down." I look directly at him. "Then let's also raise the honesty." He doesn't respond. The man across the aisle speaks now. "If she was told to leave, we deserve to know why." A woman 3 rows back stands up, voice raised. "What's going on?" Lexi looks to the cockpit, then back at me. "Crew discretion permits certain decision. To isolate passengers without reason?" I ask. Another voice, sharper, cuts in. "She didn't isolate her. She warned her." Everyone hears it. Even the flight deck is quiet. Lexi freezes. Deputy Harris scans the aisle. Then hoodie girl steps into the aisle, her voice calm, phone raised. "I'm live streaming. If anything happens to this passenger, everyone on this feed has the timestamp and video." Lexi moves back a step. The composure she's built since boarding fractures slightly. "I didn't say that," she repeats, softer now. "You can punish me," I say quietly, but we all heard her. Deputy Harris glances toward the front. Something in his ear buzzes, likely a message from the terminal. Then a beep sounds. A seatbelt chime. The captain's voice breaks the moment. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing a brief crew discrepancy. We ask for your patience as we review the situation." Not a delay. A discrepancy. Lexi retreats toward the galley. Her hands are shaking slightly now. Harris doesn't follow her. He looks at me. Then down at my still-lit phone screen. I show it to him. Boarding pass. Confirmed. Seat 14C. Flight DL1871. Dated the 19th of April 2021. 6:25. Valid, I say. No flags. No alerts. Nothing. He studies it for 2 seconds, then nods. "You're not in violation of any boarding policy." "Then why am I being watched?" He doesn't answer. A woman in the row across whispers to her partner. "What the hell is going on?" I sit again. My spine is straight. Hands folded. Lexi is still in the galley, out of sight. Hoodie girl posts her video link in the live comments. I catch the text on her phone. Delta Flight 1871. Flight attendant tells passenger to get off, denies it after. Watch. The view count ticks from 400 to 1000 inches 30 seconds. Another man turns to me. I'm in 15A. I saw her mouth the words. I didn't hear it. But she said something. That's 2 witnesses, 1 recording, 1 public accusation. Lexi doesn't return for 4 minutes. When she does, her face is blank. Like she's rebooted. You can punish me, but we all heard her. Lexi denies everything. The red light blinks. Proof lives now. The cabin smells different now. Fear has a scent, antiseptic and electric, like too much plastic rubbed too fast. It's faint, but it cuts through the sterile lemon-scented wipes and stale recirculated air. Everyone's awake now. Even the window seat napper in row 16 is sitting up. Phones are up. Eyes are sharp. The cabin knows something isn't right, they just don't know what yet. But I do. And so does Lexi. She returns to the aisle with the male flight attendant close behind. She's visibly reset, posture locked, blazer adjusted, face clean of expression. Deputy Harris is standing near the rear now, watching from distance. Lexi approaches slowly. She stops beside me, careful not to stand in front of the cameras. Ma'am, she says evenly, I've spoken with the captain. There's no confirmed threat. You are not in violation of any active policy. The wording lands strange. She's avoiding the word error. I nod once. I know. Lexi doesn't move. I glance up. Is there something else? She pauses, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, but she pushes past it. There may have been a miscommunication, she says. Sometimes noise levels, masks, or crowding cause words to be misinterpreted. I nod again. Then I'll clarify. I didn't mishear. I heard you clearly. And so did others. The man across the aisle 15A leans forward. She's not lying. Lexi doesn't respond. She's holding a line that's already fraying. I continue. Your crew has now publicly denied something multiple passengers witnessed. So I'll ask once. Did you or did you not tell me to step off this plane? Lexi's jaw clenches just for a moment. I didn't intend for any comment to be interpreted as directive or threat. Interesting, I say. Because that's not a no. Someone 2 rows back whispers, Jesus. The woman across the aisle mutters, that's PR speak. Lexi pivots. The captain will be issuing a clarification shortly. Please remain seated. She turns. Walks. And that's when Elijah speaks, quiet, controlled. From 2 rows ahead. She's trying to create airspace around liability. Every head turns. Mine included. He doesn't look at me. Just forward. She's wording her denial in ways that separate intention from consequence. That's how airlines reduce culpability when protocol gets blurry. A silence ripples. Someone asks, are you a lawyer? No. Elijah says. He's compliance, I say. Same as me. Lexi's head turns slightly at that. Elijah finally looks back at me. His eyes say it all. He remembers. And he knows this is exactly what happened before. Only last time there wasn't video. Or a crowd. Or a whisper with a witness. Lexi retreats into the galley again. The curtain flutters behind her. I open my phone and scroll. Flight log, booking confirmation, screenshot, boarding pass. Every document I have that proves I was assigned to 14C, the seat now drawing scrutiny without explanation. It's all here. Still, something feels off. They're not removing me. They're not naming a reason. They're just applying pressure until I remove myself. This is policy erosion, not action. Psychological escalation disguised as customer service. I see it in every clause I audit. Every document that's designed to discourage rights without technically violating them. Lexi's playing by that handbook now. And I know the next step in the dance. She'll quote policy language, vague, safety-related, favoring discretion over truth. The captain's voice comes through. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your patience. There's been no formal incident aboard this flight. All passengers are seated. Final clearance is pending. No formal incident. That's the phrase. The legal invisibility cloak. You can't file against something that wasn't formally recorded. You can't fight whispers unless they were captured. Hoodie girl's phone pings. She shows the screen to her seatmate. Red bubble, 3,921 live viewers. I shift in my seat. The weight is coming off me and onto the system. Good. Lexi returns again. This time she holds a small document, a printed memo. I lean forward slightly. She doesn't show it. She tucks it in her clipboard. Ma'am, we are now asking you voluntarily to deboard. We will rebook you on the next flight with a travel voucher. There it is. Voluntary. Not formal. No incident. Just pressure. I look straight at her. On what grounds? There's no official incident. We're simply offering an alternate option to maintain passenger comfort. End quote. I laugh once short and low. Comfort? You told me to leave. I stayed. And now you're rebranding it as kindness? This is not punitive. It's psychological misdirection, I say. Elijah turns again, voice calm. They're running a soft removal protocol. Passenger becomes self-removing through constructed discomfort. That way, no report is filed. No security violation logged. Lexi glances between us. You're citing internal strategy, she says. Yes, I reply. Because I've written those strategies. I rise slowly. Not leaving. Just standing. I speak clearly now, not just to Lexi. To everyone. If I was dangerous, I'd be removed. If I was disruptive, I'd be flagged. Neither has happened. So let's call this what it is. A quiet attempt to make truth inconvenient. Lexi stiffens. From the back, Deputy Harris shifts. Then a sound breaks it all. The click of a phone unlocking. From my hand. I open the email from last night. Subject line. Digital boarding confirmation DL1871. I tap the PDF. Zoom in. Point at the screen. Airline PNR Q7L2XG DL1871 seat 14C the 19th of April 2021 6:25. Clear. Verified. Timestamped. I rotate the screen toward Deputy Harris, who now stands just one row away. He examines it. Quietly. Then says, confirmed. She's properly seated. Lexi doesn't move. The teen whispers. That's evidence. She posts the clip. View count jumps to 7. 2K. Lexi finally speaks again. We'll speak with our supervisor before pushback. And she vanishes. The man in 15A leans across. You're not wrong. You just made them uncomfortable. I nod. Truth only matters if it's inconvenient. He smiles. I think they're starting to feel that. The intercom dings again, but nobody's listening anymore. The passengers aren't scared. They're watching. Truth only matters if it's inconvenient. I reach for my phone and open the seat assignment email. The phone in my hand feels heavier now. Not because of fear that's long gone. It's heavier because the truth is no longer a whisper, or a claim, or a glitch in memory. It's a file. Time-stamped. Tracked. Unavoidable. I hold it upright, screen facing the aisle, and say clearly, this is my boarding confirmation. PDF, direct from Delta's system. Seat 14C. Flight DL1871. Booked yesterday, reconfirmed last night. Deputy Harris takes a step forward. He doesn't reach for it, no need. His eyes flicker once, scanning the screen. I rotate it slightly so the others can see. Lexi's watching from 2 rows away. I know she recognizes it. I don't know what kind of note you got in your system. I continue. But I've got the original ticket. Issued. Paid. Assigned. Right here. Deputy Harris nods once. Let me confirm. He pulls out his own device, a small black unit clipped to his hip, thicker than a phone, designed for secure log access. He types in something, probably my name and flight number. A few quiet seconds pass. Then, system confirms assignment. Seat 14C checked in. No flags. He says it with no drama. Just fact. The cabin exhales one large, communal breath. Lexi blinks. She looks away, just for a second. But it's enough. Across the aisle, 13D Espresso Nails raises her brows. So she wasn't flagged? Wasn't a threat? No, I say. But someone wanted me treated like one. Alia speaks next. His voice is calm but full of gravity. She was pre-selected. Not by the system. By a person. Everyone hears it. Lexi doesn't deny it. She simply straightens her blazer and walks away. Not toward the galley this time, toward the cockpit. Running out of places to hide. I stay standing. The male flight attendant, young, nervous, walks past, avoiding eye contact. He presses his earpiece and mutters, "Passenger confirmed valid, no cause." The words trail off. But I know what they mean. Someone has started retracting the alert if there ever was one. The flight crew is scrambling to realign the narrative, but they're too late. We've already heard the first version. And we have the proof. I scroll on my phone, open the airline app, and tap receipts. There it is: purchase record, reservation code, e-ticket. I press and hold the screen. Take another screenshot. Save it. Archive it. Digital survival. Hoodie girl calls out, "Do you want me to airdrop the clip?" I nod once. Seconds later, the video arrives in my phone inbox. I open it. Play the moment back. There's Lexi standing by the doorway. Her lips part. It's faint, but there's a clear movement. Then my voice, louder. "She told me to step off this plane now." The camera catches the shift in her expression. The denial's starting to form. Lexi didn't expect to be recorded. None of them do. That's what makes the power real when they know someone else knows. I save the clip. Turn toward Deputy Harris. "Would you like the video as well?" He hesitates. Then nods once. "Please." I send it. Airdrop. Fast. No paper trail, but real enough to live inside any inquiry. He watches the first 10 seconds. Doesn't blink. Closes it. Pockets the device. "You've got confirmation," I say. "And now you've got context." He nods again. And for the first time, he lowers his voice slightly. "There may be follow-up." I welcome it. Because follow-up means a record. A record means someone's going to have to write Lexi's name on something. And that's what they hate most. Lexi returns. Her face is blank. Not neutral. Blank the way people go when the script no longer applies. She's holding a laminated safety instruction sheet. It's shaking slightly. She puts it in the seat pocket in front of me like it's a gesture, a distraction, or an attempt to reclaim the routine. I don't touch it. She lingers a beat too long. "Everything's been confirmed," she says finally. "I know," I say. "I just did your job for you." A few chuckles from nearby rows. Lexi blinks. Turns. Walks forward again. Elijah speaks softly from 2 rows up. "She didn't expect verification." "No," I say. "She expected silence." I sit again. Phone still in hand. The cabin isn't loud, but it's awake electrically so. The mood has shifted from anxiety to indignation. No one's moving. They're waiting. Not for takeoff. For resolution. The kind that doesn't come with peanuts and apologies. The kind that names what was almost covered. The captain's voice returns. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for your patience. We're reconfirming final crew coordination, and we'll be closing the cabin doors shortly." Final crew coordination. Still trying to phrase around the facts. Still trying to rewrite the start of this story while we've all watched it unfold. I lean toward the aisle and speak loud enough for the second attendant to hear. "Tell the captain I've already sent the video to 4 different email inboxes and 1 federal complaint portal. He can revise the narrative all he wants, but the original is already documented." He flinches slightly. Then disappears forward. Across the cabin, a woman murmurs, "You think they'll still fly?" Elijah answers before I can. "They have to now. Otherwise it confirms retaliation." He's right. To cancel now would be an admission. And they don't admit. They dilute. Redirect. Rebrand. They turn suppression into courtesy and call it protocol. Lexi stands by the cockpit. She's still now waiting for a cue. But she's not in control anymore. Because the first piece of proof just broke containment, and you can't whisper your way out of a broadcast. They gave me a seat. Then tried to erase it. The captain pauses the flight. Lexi steps into the galley, face blank. Lexi finally returns to the front of the cabin, microphone in hand. Her jaw is locked in corporate calm, that exact shape of crisis control every compliance officer recognizes. She's about to address the cabin not as a person, but as a product. "Ladies and gentlemen," she begins, "we appreciate your patience during this unusual delay. We'd like to clarify that at no point was any passenger formally removed or accused of misconduct." Formally. That's the loophole word. Her eyes graze over me once, no contact. Then she continues. "If a statement was misinterpreted or caused concern, We acknowledge the passenger's experience and appreciate her cooperation. I smile, but it's the tired smile. The kind you give when someone steals your words and hands you back the echo. She's not denying the whisper anymore. She's absorbing it, weaponizing ambiguity, and spinning it into a misunderstanding. The cabin hears it. I feel it in the body language. People shift, lean in, bristle. But Lexi isn't done. She says it. At no point did I instruct any passenger to leave this aircraft. There it is. The lie. Out loud. On record. She's erased the whisper and written over it with her voice. Now it's her words against my reaction. Her calm against my memory. Her smile against my certainty. And for the first time, I feel it in my spine, that old ache of being recast. Not as a problem, but as unstable. They're not trying to say I lied. They're trying to say I overreacted. I stand up slowly. Speak just loud enough for the front half of the plane to hear. I'd like to respond to the statement just made. I think stud. Lexi freezes, still holding the intercom. I wait. She doesn't move. So I continue. Passengers heard it. One recorded it. Deputy Harris confirmed my seat was valid. And yet the person who created the confusion is now rewriting what happened, not with truth, but tone. Silence. Not even the engine whines. I turn to Hoodie Girl. Can you play it? She taps. The video begins again. 3 words. Clear lip movement. Step off now. The moment repeats. Lexi's face tightens ever so slightly. I don't care what she says now. Hoodie Girl mutters. I was there. I heard it. Someone behind me murmurs, she's lying. I stay standing. Because this isn't about yelling. This is about holding the floor. Lexi doesn't respond. The male attendant near her whispers something into the cabin phone, probably to the captain. Then the cockpit door opens slightly. A man steps halfway into the cabin. Captain McDowell. According to the tag, tall. Neutral. Calculated. Ladies and gentlemen, he says, I want to assure everyone that this situation is under control. He looks at me. I've reviewed the reports. I'm aware of the conflicting interpretations. Interpretations. Not events. Not actions. Interpretations. He continues. The FAA provides us with discretion to respond to perceived escalations. This crew acted within that discretion. I blink. That's the game now? It wasn't escalation, I reply calmly. It was a whisper, a private message, witnessed, documented, then denied. The captain hesitates. Perhaps phrased in a way that could be misunderstood. Then she can say that, I say. But she didn't. She said nothing until now. And now she's saying it never happened. That's not safety. That's strategy. He doesn't like that. Ma'am, we'd prefer to move forward with the flight. Me too, I say. So let's fly. I sit down again. Hands still. Face forward. Elijah says, just loud enough for me to hear. They tried to outvolume the whisper. I nod once. But now the whisper's public. The teen airdrops the video to 4 more passengers. Someone in 17A says, sent that to my cousin, works at TSA. Another voice. It's on Twitter already. Lexi's posture has shifted. She's not controlling the tone anymore. She's contending with reality. And it's louder than her voice. I glance toward the galley. The male attendant is watching me now, not with fear. With respect. Like he saw the switch flip. Like he knows Lexi crossed a line. And now he's standing on the wrong side of it. He walks past me slowly. Pauses. Slips a folded piece of paper into my seatback pocket without saying a word. Then walks on. I wait a few seconds. Then slide it out. It's a printout from the gate manifest. Passenger list. Row numbers. Seat assignments. My name, Rena M. Calloway. Chternishte. C. Initials in pen. L. C. Lexi's. She marked my row herself. Before I ever stepped on board. The camera isn't just on me anymore. It's on her. And she knows it. The intercom dings. The captain's voice again. We're cleared for pushback. No apology. No further clarification. Just movement. Because forward means forget. But not this time. Because the truth didn't stay small. It multiplied. And the whisper is still echoing. They tried to outvolume the whisper. Captain speaks of interpretation. Lexi speaks louder. But the video speaks clearest. We push back from the gate. But no one relaxes. There's no collective sigh of relief. No page turning or headphone clicks. Just quiet. Still. The cabin feels like a courtroom after a verdict, technical motion but no peace. The whisper still hangs in the air, even as the engine turns over. Lexi is silent. She stands near the galley, facing forward, holding a laminated safety card with the grip of someone who needs something to hold. Deputy Harris remains on board, seated in jump seat 1C. He hasn't spoken since confirming my seat. His presence is no longer about protection. It's about witnessing. We taxi for 8 minutes. Then pause again. Captain McDowell comes over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been asked to review a final documentation step before takeoff. Flight crew will remain in position. Thank you for your continued patience. A final documentation step. No one buys it. Not after what's happened. Not with 4 passengers already tweeting screenshots of the boarding pass. The whisper claim, the pushback quote. Huddy Girl's live stream just hit 11K views. Elijah sends me a text from 2 rows up. Crew communication protocols are likely being edited in real time. I reply, Lexi's losing control. He doesn't respond. He doesn't have to. Because we both know what's coming next. The internal rewrite. 5 minutes later, the male attendant Jordan, according to his badge, walks past. He stops beside my row. No clipboard. No speech. He just leans in, voice low, like a priest in confession. They updated the briefing form, he says. Wanted me to backdate it. My breath stills. What form? I whisper. Gate coordination memo. Internal only. Says 14C passenger was redirected for boarding confusion. But I wasn't redirected. He nods. I know. Did you sign it? No. He shifts his weight. Lexi already did. There it is. The lie is being institutionalized. Documented. Filed. Given timestamped shape. So they can point to it later and say, see? This is what we said all along. Jordan lingers. His voice is flat. She marked you at 6:19. 6 minutes before general boarding. I stare at him. She knew I was coming. She knew someone was coming. Your name was added at 6:07. Then flagged. He straightens up. And leaves me sitting there with a fact that won't stop echoing. This wasn't spontaneous. It was engineered. The captain walks the aisle now, slowly. He's not checking passengers. He's checking optics. How many phones are still filming? How many heads are still turned? His gaze lands on mine. I don't blink. He stops, leans in slightly. We'd prefer to handle this offline, Miss Calloway. I smile. Then you should have handled it before live stream. He says nothing. Just nods once and keeps walking. Across the aisle, 13D opens her laptop and types furiously. I catch part of the screen. Whistleblower incident aboard Delta 2880 halfyears. Passenger flagged, denied, confirmed. Crew escalation unclear. She's writing it live. Lexi glances toward her. Her lips tighten. This isn't a whisper anymore. It's a signal flare. I pull out the crew memo Jordan slipped me earlier, the gate manifest. I reread the pen scratch. LC-14C. If she flagged me before boarding, then the whisper wasn't an instinct. It was a calculated test. She whispered to see if I'd comply. If I'd go quietly. If I'd absorb the warning without question, step off the plane, disappear off record. I didn't. That's what caused the rupture. Not the whisper. The refusal. Hoodie girl whispers to her seatmate. This is so much bigger than one flight. She's right. Because this isn't about a seat. It's about procedure repurposed as power. And that power being caught mid-use. Elia stands. He walks to the lavatory. But on the way back, he pauses at my row. His voice is low. I've seen this before, he says. At Berman and Doyle. HR briefings were rewritten. Executives reshaped the file. Called it internal optimization. And what happened? He shrugs. One person pushed back. Hard. They blacklisted her. Said she violated trust. Did she? No. But she didn't whisper her resistance either. He sits again. And I remember why we stopped speaking. He filed that audit. I buried it. Because at the time I thought discretion was the safer route. Now I know better. Discretion feeds the lie. Only exposure stops it. Captain McDowell returns to the front. Lexi is behind him. He picks up the intercom again. We've completed crew alignment. We're cleared for takeoff. He says it like nothing ever happened. No whisper. No boarding pass. No denial. Just forward motion. But motion isn't the same as resolution. And I'm not done. I pull out my phone. Open notes. Start typing. Timeline.dl 1871 April 19. 67 boarding list updates. 619 LC. Flags 14C. 624 whisper issued. Step off now. 625 I board. Sex, Treotradive. Lexi denies event. 641 boarding pass confirmed by Deputy Harris. 648 video received. 651 live recording uploaded 11K plus views. 657 internal memo rewritten. 7-4 backdated briefing initiated. 7-12 captain restates no formal incident. 7-16 pushback. Truth doesn't need an argument. Just a record. As the wheels begin to roll, I whisper not to anyone in particular. Just loud enough for myself. They punished the voice, but not the echo. She whispered to test if I'd disappear quietly. The crew rewrites the memo. But it's already too late. Altitude always gives the illusion of safety. 32,000 feet above the ground, the sky is sterile and smooth. But up here, turbulence doesn't need to shake the plane. It can just shake the narrative. And right now, the cabin is still processing. Nobody said much since takeoff. The seatbelt sign remains on longer than usual. Lexi hasn't made a pass since pushback. Jordan, however, brings me a bottle of water and nothing else. He slides it gently onto my tray. No eye contact. No comment. But tucked beneath the plastic is a folded sheet of paper crisp, laser printed. 8:04 a.m. UTC Crew Supplemental Action Form 4B. Subject: Rena M. Calloway. Category: Tone Disruption Protocol Review. Filed by L. Chambers. Supporting: Unprovoked passenger reaction to non-directive greeting. Witnessed verbal escalation inconsistent with expected behavior. I read it twice. Tone disruption. That's what they're calling it now. Not my seat. Not my ticket. Not the whisper. My tone. It's procedural now. Codified. I'm not being punished for being wrong, I'm being punished for being right too loudly. Jordan lingers in the aisle. I wasn't supposed to give that to you, he murmurs. But you should know what they're writing. Is this filed? He nods. It's already in the system, not public. Yet. I glance at the line-marked routing copy it includes. HQ. Passenger Ops. Legal, Preliminary. Risk Incident Response. AIRR. It's moving up the ladder. Fast. They're preparing to quarantine the narrative. Did Elijah see this? Jordan hesitates. I don't know. Can you get him here? Jordan nods once. Slips away. 2 minutes later, Elijah walks back from row 12. His face is grim. He sits in the empty aisle seat beside me. I knew they'd flag something, he says. I hand him the memo. He doesn't flinch, just reads. When he finishes, he slides it back and says, language like this is designed to look neutral. But it's lethal. It's not even accurate, I say. I never raised my voice. They don't need volume. Just resistance. We sit in silence for a beat. Then he adds, I saw something else. On Lexi's screen. During pre-boarding. What? She had your old audit ID pulled up. My stomach goes tight. She was looking at Berman and Doyle? He nods. She didn't just know your name. She knew your record. It hits hard. Because I remember what that ID links to. 1 flagged report. 2 overridden escalations. A decision not to follow up on Elijah's whistleblower note. And a final comment on the file. Employee shows signs of over-identification with subject matter. That's code. It means she cared too much. It means she might speak up again. And someone had it ready before I boarded. They didn't want me gone because I was a risk, I whisper. They wanted me gone because I'd been a risk before. Kirsten 24. Eliah nods slowly. You made the mistake of not disappearing the first time. Lexi passes down the aisle mid-flight. She doesn't look at me, but I see it, her shoulders tighter, eyes more aware of the phones. She's not the face of the system anymore. She's a symptom of it. But that memo, that's not hers. That's deeper. I unlock my phone, screenshot the form, attach it to an email draft addressed to myself, BCC to a digital rights firm I once briefed at a compliance conference. Subject: Flight DL1871 Memo Re. Passenger retaliation under policy framing. Attach: Boarding pass. Video. Gate manifest. Memo 4B. Truth in 4 files. Elijah glances down. Sending it. I nod. His face shifts something between regret and pride. I never told you, he says. But the Berman and Doyle report. I kept a copy. Of the original. You have it? Encrypted. On private drive. Why didn't you say anything? Because you buried it, he says softly. And I thought maybe you had a reason. I wince. I had a reason, I say. It just wasn't a good one. He looks at me. I believe you now, I add. And we both know what that means. I'm not just correcting a flight record. I'm reopening a file that never stopped bleeding. The cabin lights dim. Lexi picks up the intercom for beverage service. But her voice shakes slightly when she says, "Cabin crew, prepare for initial descent checklist." She's off rhythm. The script is slipping. Because somewhere she knows. We're not descending. We're documenting. 13D catches my eye. She holds up her phone. New message on screen. Passenger cited for tone disruption. Local news is asking for comment. The fire's spreading. Controlled tone can't stop it now. I whisper again, not to be heard, but to remember. They erased the message. Then rewrote me as the threat. I wasn't dangerous. I was inconvenient. To this 40 has today. The memo reads, passenger tone escalation inconsistent with expected behavior. It's quiet again. But not the safe kind. It's the kind of quiet that comes after too much has been said. And not enough admitted. Final descent begins. The captain's voice breaks in with practiced smoothness. Flight attendants, prepare the cabin for arrival. Lexi doesn't move right away. She's at the jump seat, hands gripping the belt like it's the only solid thing left. Her eyes are unfocused. She hasn't made eye contact with me since the memo. The wheels lock into landing position. Cabin lights blink. And then Lexi rises. Walks the aisle. Everyone watches. Not openly, but everyone watches. Phones tilted subtly, eyes peeking just over screens. She stops at row 14. Not beside me. In front of me. Faces me like it's the first time. She doesn't speak. And in that moment, I realize. She hasn't decided who she is yet. Is she the whistle? Or the suppressor? A tool of the system? Or the one who finally puts the tool down? I wait. She opens her mouth, closes it again. Then she exhales. And speaks just for me. I wasn't supposed to say anything, she says. That's why I whispered. I blink. But you did say something. I didn't know you'd repeat it out loud. Her voice breaks slightly. She's not apologizing. She's confessing. And I realize in the space between us, she wasn't trying to remove me. She was trying to warn me. But her job doesn't have a category for that. You flagged me, I say quietly. Before I boarded. Her eyes flick away. I didn't want it escalated. Why flag me at all? I didn't, she says. The system did. I just confirmed it. That's the moment. The handoff. She's transferring responsibility back to the machine, trying to escape accountability by blaming the script. But she knows it's not enough. So she adds, they sent the memo to me. Pre-filled. I just signed it. I whisper, you didn't write the lie. You just carried it. She nods once. Like we're trained to. Her voice dips again. But when I saw your name. And your old audit record. I thought maybe you'd understand. Understand what? She hesitates. That if you stayed silent you'd stay safe. I lean back. That's the line. The one I've heard my whole life from clients, coworkers, even myself. Silence equals safety. Until it doesn't. Until the silence gets you rewritten. Until you're marked not as a danger, but as a distortion, an outlier whose resistance is labeled as instability. I pull out the memo again. Lexi sees it. You're not the one who filed this, I say. She shakes her head. But I didn't stop it either. I nod slowly. That's the real charge. Not what she said. What she allowed. I can't unsign it, she says. No, I reply. But you can still say what happened. She looks at the cabin. Passengers watching, phones still quietly aimed. If I admit that now, she whispers, I lose everything. I stare at her. No, I say. You lose the lie. Silence again. The kind that doesn't wait for turbulence. Then she speaks. Not to me. To everyone. She turns, halfway down the aisle. Raises her voice just enough. There was a miscommunication earlier in the boarding process. I used language I shouldn't have privately that created confusion and concern. The passenger in 14C was never out of order. Any escalation came from my handling, not hers. The air shifts. Phones lift. Eyes widen. Lexi doesn't wait for permission. She steps back to her jump seat. Buckles in. Her hands are shaking. But her voice, the one that whispered "step off now," finally echoes in public. And it's louder than the lie. Elijah turns in his seat. Looks back at me. His eyes say it clearly. She chose echo. The plane touches down. Wheels strike asphalt. The body rocks forward. Then back the way landings always feel a little violent, a little earned. Like truth. As we taxi, the captain's voice returns. Measured. Even. But something's changed in the timbre. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you for your cooperation this morning. We'll be deplaning shortly. Our sentence. Nothing else. No commentary. No framing. No suppression. Just an ending. Sort of. When we reach the gate, Lexi stands once more. She faces me. For what it's worth, she says, I thought you'd keep it quiet. I smile. I thought you would too. No, you don't lose everything. You lose the lie. Lexi turns to the cabin. Any escalation came from my handling, not hers. The door hisses open. The jet bridge connects. But nobody stands. It's as if the passengers collectively decided. This isn't over yet. I stay in my seat, backpack still under the chair, memo in my lap, boarding pass highlighted on my phone. Lexi is already near the front, mask off now, face pale but resolute. She made her choice. And so did I. Deputy Harris is the first to rise. He nods once toward me, not in command, but in acknowledgement. We both know what's been logged. He steps off quietly. No citation. No escort. No incident report. Just history. Documented. Elijah waits at his row. He meets me at the aisle. We're not invisible anymore, he says quietly. I nod. But we're still being watched. A camera clicks from behind us. Someone whispers, "That's her." I turn. It's not judgment in their eyes. It's alignment. The kind that says, we saw it. We won't forget it. We might be next. The terminal is colder than I remember. Not temperature tone. The crew files out ahead, tight-lipped. Lexi doesn't look back. I don't blame her. You don't look back when you burn your own manual. A uniformed rep from passenger services waits at the gate. Her badge reads C. Devers, Regional Ops. Miss Calloway? She asks, crisp and kind. I nod. Follow me, please. Elijah raises an eyebrow. She's not with security, I whisper. She's with silence control. He almost smiles. I'm escorted down a private hallway near B concourse, to a door marked Pass OPS Recon. Devers opens it. Inside, 2 chairs. A low desk. A pitcher of water. And a framed poster. Passenger trust is our true altitude. The irony is almost cinematic. She speaks gently. We'd like to offer our sincere apologies for the disruption. I stay silent. We recognize that certain procedural breakdowns occurred. We're addressing that internally. Is Lexi included in that? I ask. Devers doesn't blink. We don't comment on internal staffing. Then I'll continue commenting publicly. And into standard. She nods slightly. Of course. She slides a small envelope forward. It's heavy. Inside, $100 travel voucher. A formal thank you card with no name. And a line. We hope to restore your confidence in our airline. No admission. No memo mention. No record of the whisper. Just money and quiet. I push the envelope back. I don't need restoration, I say. I need a record. Devers exhales slowly. We understand you've shared materials externally. I have. Is Ningo. May we ask you to refrain from further action while we conduct our review? I smile. I'm afraid you're already behind schedule. The video's past 18K views, the memos archived. And the boarding pass? Printed and notarized. Devers blinks once. Then stands. Well, Miss Calloway, we thank you for your time. Not done yet. I slide the memo across the table. Initialed by a crew member. Verified by a passenger. And timestamped. I'll be filing a compliance report under FAA 91. 11 and 121.58. Her eyes narrow. That's aggressive. No, I say. It's accurate. Elijah meets me outside the door. How'd it go? He asks. They offered silence. He nods. That's the only currency they trust. As we walk toward baggage claim, my phone buzzes. A new email. Subject: Berman and Doyle audit request to reopen file 732E. Zender. Whistle Integrity Office. Text. Your previous report has been reflagged due to ongoing incident parallels. Please confirm availability for follow-up discussion. I stop walking. Elijah turns. It's happening, I say. He takes my phone, reads it, then hands it back carefully. This time, don't bury it. I won't, I say. Because I can't. At the carousel, Jordan the flight attendant appears briefly at a side exit. He doesn't wave. Just nods. Then vanishes. Proof that not everyone who carries the manual wants to enforce it. Some are just trying to survive it. As I lift my bag from the belt, a reporter brushes past me. Are you the woman from flight 1871? I pause. No, I say. I'm the woman who stayed. Then I walk out. They offered silence. I gave them a record. Rena's phone buzzes. The audit she buried is alive again. 1 week later, the video has passed 2.3 million views. The whisper once delivered in secret now plays on news segments, podcast intros, TikToks with captions like, "When the truth has to board in silence." It's no whited. Some call it a conspiracy. Others call it a glitch in protocol. But the ones who know the ones who watched it happen live, or held their phones half-raised, call it something else. A warning. I sit in a small recording studio in DC, waiting for the producer to cue me in. It's a panel. National broadcast. The host clears her throat. We're here today with Rena Calloway, compliance analyst and former whistleblower, to discuss what's being called the Whisper Flight Delta 1871. It's setted. I adjust my mic. Breathe. She smiles. So Rena, tell us, what happened on that plane? I pause. Then speak. A flight attendant whispered 3 words to me before I boarded. Step off now. And what did you do? I said them out loud. That's it? That's it. The host nods slowly. And that broke something? No, I reply. It revealed something already broken. The clip plays in the corner screen. Lexi's voice, slightly shaking. Any escalation came from my handling, not hers. The moment her voice cracked truth into public record. They replay it often now. Not because it's dramatic. Because it's rare. Later that afternoon, I walk past a screen at Reagan Airport. CNN's on silent but the caption scrolls. Delta under internal review following Whisper flight fallout. Passenger retaliation protocols questioned. I keep walking. Not because I don't care. Because I don't need confirmation. Not anymore. Outside, Elijah texts me. Interview was solid. NYT columnist quoting you next week. I reply. Still want to leak the B&D archive. 3 dots. Then. Let's wait 1 more week. Let them underestimate us. At night, I lie awake in my apartment, light from the street painting slow-moving shadows on the ceiling. The sound I hear isn't jet engines or cabin chimes. It's Lexi's whisper, not in fear, but in clarity. Step off now. Go to 5 for dough. It wasn't a threat. It was a choice. And I didn't take it. Now the echo has outgrown the voice. Now, the public decides what the whisper meant. Now the system can't reshape the record because too many hold it. My inbox holds 300 new messages. Some anonymous. Some ugly. But some more than I expected say things like, "Thank you. I had a Lexi once. I almost stepped off. They flagged me too. I thought I was imagining it." A girl from the flight sends me an update. Hoodie girl. Her real name's June. She's launched a digital archive. echoflight.org. Anonymized whistleblower entries. Crowdsourced cabin documentation. Her caption reads, "They tried to make silence procedural. We made memory permanent." I donate $500. It's not guilt. It's gratitude. The next morning, a letter arrives at my door. Physical envelope. No return address. Inside, a folded page. Printed text. One sentence. "You didn't disappear. So now we know we don't have to either." I would do said does imported it. There's no signature. No stamp. Just one name typed at the bottom. Lexi Chambers. I sit with that letter for a long time. Then I frame it. Not as a trophy. As a reminder. Because this wasn't a battle. It was a recording. And sometimes, that's enough. I take a walk that evening. The air is sharp. The city lights scattered and restless. And as I pass through the metro station I hear it. A girl. Whispering to her friend as they board the escalator. She says it like a warning. But also like a challenge. Step off now. I don't stop walking. Because now. Everyone knows what that means. You didn't disappear. So now we know we don't have to either.